crossing the halfway line. Matt Scott, one of the two props, and they'll have some pressure put on them, I guess. City Country time. I'm talking about the top spots in the Australian side. And Fifita and Aaron Woods come to mind. Boyd Cordner, knock on. Cordner, of course, capping a year last year of monumental proportions, given that he had that injury that looked like putting him out of the grand final side. He played Origin, he played World Cup. Tohu Harris is interesting, isn't he? He's the one that made way for Sonny Bill Williams.
A couple of errors early from the Australians. Swirling ball caught out Billy Slater. All go their way there, and then Boyd Cordner on the chest out of pop, so a few nerves maybe out there. There's New Zealand now bring it back.
It's Farray. Dean Farray just onto Australia's side of halfway, and this is Sam Moa, whose front row partner was expected to make the team by Ria Hargreaves. They really the bridge on them, don't they, the Roosters? But no Jared in the team. That came as a shock. Now from Henry. Cross for Johnson, this time a different kick. It's more of a chip, and it's going to have to hurry for the dough. Slater took it. Slater took it dead. He could hear them coming.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Nothing too flamboyant from the Kiwis, just getting themselves into the contest. Lovely chip into the corner. Plenty of chases down here, putting pressure on the fullback, who's eventually got to play at it and touch it dead. A couple of errors, as Peter pointed out, for the Aussies, and a couple of nice sets of six from the Kiwis to settle their nerves. They need a positive start.
Early minutes in the game, and Cameron Smith kicks down to Petahiku. And he had a look at Moa and he thought, I'll take it myself. They've already taken a couple of hit-ups, and they're on the 30-metre line. That's the Kangaroos' 30-metre line. That looks like Blair. And he plays the ball outside the 20. Here goes Henry, fending away from his opposite number and getting it to 8 metres out from the line. Playing it back then and coming away from Farrell. It's gone to Mannering and gone from Johnson inside to Moa. And Moa collared by 3 Kangaroos there. They're only 7 away, though. Here's Johnson. And now to Proctor it is in 12. Kiwis in the middle of the ground. Bromwich. He flicks it out the back and is batted back by Moa. It came down to Johnson. 6 more tackles, says the referee. 2 metres out from the line. And this is Bromwich over the line. Does he get the ball down? I think he's going to point to the spot. Yeah. Shane Hayne is awarded a try to Melbourne's Jesse Bromwich.
Well, that's exactly the start that Phil Gould was talking about. A very positive one for the Kiwis. Kicking game from Sean Johnson has been excellent so far. Came up with 2 results. Ben Henry knew when to run from dummy half when Adam Blair got a quick play the ball. And after 6 again was signalled, see their momentum is ruled by referee Shane Hayne to have taken Jesse Bromwich into the in-goal area with the football.
That's a really positive start. Controlled the ball well, asked a couple of questions, a couple of quick play the balls in there where they darted out of dummy half. And the 6 again was nice for them at the back end of the set of 6. A little bit unexpected on tackle 5. They threw the ball to the front rower standing up flat on the line rather than back for a kick, and it caught Australia by surprise. Once they ruled 6 again, they were buoyed by that and now they muscle their way into the in goal here and get first points. The first try that Australia has conceded in their last 5 outings. Their defence has been impeccable, but the despised outsiders here, the Kiwis, have struck first.
So Johnson, who's very much been the conductor of a perfect start. If there's a perfect storm, there's a perfect start, and this fellow has been at the helm of that start for New Zealand, the number 7, Sean Johnson. And he hooks it but gets it. So it is 6-0, early days in favour of New Zealand. Darren Lockyer.
The Kiwis knew tonight they had to be mistake-free to be competitive. They also know they need to take some chances, and as Gus just alluded to, bit the last year. They take a bit of a chance. You get a bit of luck, but you make your own luck in this game. And then, again, the Aussies just a little bit lacklustre there. And you can sense it's only early, but the Aussies are looking at one another, waiting for someone to do something.
Australia guarding the northern end and kicking down to Nightingale in the southwestern corner. The Dragon winger becoming a bit of a veteran of the Trans-Tasman Test Series. In fact, Australia-New Zealand Test matches. And so they're in the middle of the ground, and Henry finding Moa. And Moa carries the ball outside the 30-metre line. I know some people that went to visit Alex McKinnon today at Royal North Shore, and I know he's watching the telecast tonight. I hope you enjoy it, mate, and I believe it's been a good week for you. A little bit more feeling in the legs. So all the best from everybody in rugby league, not just in rugby league, everybody. 4 is Beale. And away then for Johnson. Here's another kick, and it's a different kick again. And taken nicely by Darius Boyd. It wasn't the easiest one to take. Boyd, one of 3 players in this side that could be handling the #1 jumper with ease.
And that's Inglis handled with numbers. 3 in the tackle there. It was a decent set from New Zealand after scoring points. The kickoff was allowed to bounce. They still got to the halfway line before Shaun Johnson again kicked. Now Nate Miles takes the carry forward towards halfway. Looks for the offload. Doesn't.
So Smith now. And he turns it back on the inside to Gallen. Gallen only just back from injury. Been in the moon boot for quite some time. Just made his club reappearance the other night. And Hiku taking it well. Josh Morris making the tackle. Brett coming in to tidy up Hiku. Identical twins playing on the right side for Australia. And players inside the 10 on New Zealand's end of the park, and that's Tuivasa Sheck. Youngest of the New Zealanders in the side, Tuivasa. And the All-Stars, the women's curtain raise at 24-0, the women's All-Stars over the Indigenous women's All-Stars. 24-0. Bromwich it is, the try scorer, and now for Jared Beale. Got himself a try in the Anzac Day match. Played here against the Roosters just the other day. Johnson again, and he gets it away to Farah, and Farah gets it on. The kick to the centre is taken by Billy Slater, and Slater weaves his way down to halfway. Put down eventually by Farah. Peter.
It was excellent reading there from Shaun Johnson. He knew that there was space on the outside, but the kick let that down. It was too easy for Billy Slater to regather, and now the Australians on the attack.
Smith to Cronk. Cronk away to Josh Morris. And they're 30 metres out. Josh wearing the black and white boot. Identical more of an orange lace and a white boot.
We got Sam Moore, I think, on the far side in all sorts of trouble as Miles goes forward.
Cronk might have gone forward himself there, but the referee's allowed it to go, and Scott is in that huddle, about to play the ball, 10 metres out from the line. Thurston joins in, gets it away, Bird! Bird is over to score. Well, they opened up very simply. Moa, I think Peter said, was out of action. Might have completed their line, but Greg Bird has scored.
Well, it certainly didn't help the Kiwis' cause. There you can see him receiving attention on the Harvey Norman replay to the left there. And it was after Australia were given the ball fairly cheaply at the other end. Big gap there for Greg Bird to run into. And they hit back the green and golds.
Blood from the little cut above the nose of Darius Boyd, but there is the try scorer, the wholehearted back row forward, Greg Bird, soaking up the representative weekend. He thoroughly enjoys it. He'll be aching for Origin to come round.
Hey boys, real good fucking seconds.
So we're back at Allianz Stadium, and the captain, Cameron Smith, has basically called a meeting and laying down the law.
It was wonderful play by Jonathan Thurston. Gee, the great playmakers, they really don't miss an opportunity, do they? Even though it was the last tackle, no thought of the kick there. He saw a jagged defensive line and a good, hard, straight runner in Bird outside him. He ticked the defence clean.
We heard in that huddle there, Cameron Smith, keep our structures and play direct.
Thurston's online. He's got a chance tonight to level or go past Mal Meninga's most number of goals. Sam Moa going up the tunnel. Mal bagged 141. Jonathan, that's 136 for him. So he's chasing down Meninga's goal-kicking record. Andrew John sideline at the Test match.
Yeah, Gus hit the nail on the head there. The jagged line. You watch the inside defence here for the Kiwis. We can get a replay coming up. You can see that pressure. J2 from the inside, but the outside defenders just let him down, didn't move up off the line.
So Greg Eastwood has gone out there for Sam Moa. And Scott it is that brings the ball back for Australia. 15 metres out from the Australian line. Ball goes away to Paul Gallen, and Gallen with a traditional Gallen run, bumping his way into the arms of Henry. And now they go away to Boyd Cordner. The back row is getting their job done to the 35-metre point, and now 16 takes the ball away. Nate Miles, who of course was in the starting side, as was Harris for New Zealand, and here's a penalty going to Australia. And it's against Adam Blair. Hand on the ball. And so Cameron Smith will take the line finder. He should get it around about the 30.
And it's important here that New Zealand aim up in defence. I mean, it was Australia's first visit down to their 20-metre zone, and they crossed pretty simply. If they come down and cross again, some of the young players in this New Zealand side have started to do this, which everything that everyone said it would be. So they've got to show some resilience here.
So 6-all in the Trans-Tasman Test. 15 minutes of the game gone, approximately. And Nate Miles linking to Cooper Cronk, and he's hit hard by Henry in defence. An assist there from Blair, but they keep going to the left side to Gallen. Good groan from the crowd there. Ball loose, it's a scrum. It's a scrum.
The outside men to the left there for Australia were disappointed that the ball didn't come, maybe on both occasions. Had a real stretch of players when Cooper Cronk was nailed by Henry. And then they thought, well, OK, it didn't come that time. It'll come this next one. But it didn't.
Just in a couple of their attacking formations, they look so organised, this Australian side. I mean, with 11 Queenslanders in there that have played a lot of football together. With rep teams, it's really a huge advantage if you can keep combinations together for a long period of time. And that's where Queensland have been so great. And it's benefited Australia, and you can see it there in their structures that despite only a week's preparation, they all know what they're doing.
Nightingale. Outside the 20-metre line, his own end of the ground. Bromwich again, big and strong, out to the 30-metre line. Got the try at the what minute of the game was it? It was the 6th minute of the game. So Bromwich is your first try scorer. Backpedaling is Slater. Peter.
Yeah, good volume in the kick there from Sean Johnson. Billy Slater brings it back. He's well taken on the 20-metre line. Gets back up and picks up another 8 metres. Been an excellent start from Jesse Bromwich. Apart from the try, he's been really strong and a handful.
This is Brett Morris running into the waving arms of Proctor and Bromwich. Well, in fact, it's Eastwood. So Greg is out there for Moa. And now for Matt Scott. He's just got a little bit sideways there, and Mannering wrapped him up in the middle of the park. Australia's 40-metre line behind them now as they kick big down. And the bounce is an awkward one for Hiku. Then he knocks on. And Australia's got a chance for advantage here, but they couldn't take it.
Yes, Kiwis first.
Yeah, the Kiwis knocked on first. It'll be a loose head and feed to Australia 15 metres from the line.
Yeah, it was a wicked bounce here for Hiku. I don't think that Cameron Smith timed this kick all that well. And it sort of gives him a wicked bounce here. Bounces straight back in the path of the Australians. They're all onside because it's the dummy half that's kicked. And Hiku, there's his knock on there. And the Australians couldn't get a handle on it to race away. So Here's a real opportunity for the Kangaroos. Scrum win 15 metres out.
Hang on, boys, hang on.
Slater, Inglis, Morris,
Frank, you've got to join on to Adam, please. Adam, you join on
They're all there.
Lock him in there. Ball in. Out.
So here we go. Smith at the back of the scrum. Slater in. First and with it. Now it's gone to Brett Morris for the corner. Brett Morris goes in for try number 18 at test level.
Way too easy. Way too easy. Brilliant stuff.
And it doesn't matter what side of the field you play, Brett Morris, he finds a line. See here, it's 4 on 4, but the decoy players just create a 2 on 1 for Jonathan Thurston. And he puts it on the chest of Brett Morris. Billy Slater, first receiver. The defender's coming up and in, and all of a sudden Jason Nightingale realises, well, I'm in all sorts of trouble here. And by the time that realisation came through, Brett Morris was off and away. He followed what the men inside did.
Just incredible.
Yeah, the 4th test that he and his brother have played together at international level, which equals the 4 played by Matthew and Andrew Johns, his brothers in test match football.
There's been a few brothers play test match football together. I guess the Walters brothers did it a couple of times, being a trio of brothers. I don't know whether they all played in the same side, but I know a couple of them backed up.
Jason and Darren Smith.
Yeah. So here's Jonathan now chasing down this record of Mal Meninga's. And 25 out from the touchline. He's got this. What a beautiful kick. What a marvellous kick. Darren Lockyer on the sideline.
Yeah, that was right in front of us. Awesome kick by JT. Brett Morris, we talked about how well they look with their structures when they're in attack, the Aussies. They just, as you say, they know each other so well. Morris was actually 20 metres in from the sideline here, and that's what condensed the Kiwi defence up, and they just made it look too easy, the Aussies. Great to watch.
The Kiwis bounced off the blocks very quickly, but Australia has run them in just as quickly, and Tamo is out there now, 15 metres out from his own line. Slater in the dummy half, asking little questions every time he comes into the game. He's asking a question. Non-stop player. Corey Parker's out there as well.
Yeah, double change made by Tim Sheens, Nate Miles and Matt Scott coming off, the starting front rowers.
Gallen. Tim Sheens, of course, in his 26 tests. 6 players in the Australian. Just reading the Holden scoreboard, and they took it down on them. Holden, of course, major sponsor of the Australian Kangaroos, major sponsor of State of Origin, major sponsor of the under-20 competition. So Tuivasa Sheck is with it now. This is Nightingale. It's outside his 30-metre line. There's a penalty inside the 10.
Corey.
Inside the 10, he's called Corey Parker.
And that's a soft penalty for Australia because they're under no pressure there. New Zealand weren't going to do much with the ball, so getting in front of the referee under those circumstances is just a freebie.
First penalty of the game. Zealand under the attack then with Blair. And Havili out there now, I fancy. Youngster who's played a total of about 54 minutes, first grade in 14. Yes, he's out there. And now Bromwich surges, and then he doesn't really care how he delivers. Under pressure, it's okay, I guess. And Hiku was with the ball, and then he's slammed into the turf. Down at the northern end by the tackle, mainly of Parker with Bird. Eastwood back, Johnson on. Here's a chance for Proctor. Got it to Harris, and Harris is in. The Melbourne combination are in. Referee
Steve,
hasn't pointed.
No.
I do have a try. Just review the grounding, please.
Brett Morris has done his best here, and it's a really nice play from New Zealand. They get Kevin Proctor through the line, which Melbourne do so well. And his Melbourne teammate, Tohu Harris, comes up on his outside. Now, Brett Morris has rolled Harris and eventually... well, I think it's enough.
He didn't get it down the first time, and that was my concern because there's a bobble on the second occasion. He'll turn, his elbow just won't bend the right way for him, and he tries to get it down. Now, he's lost the ball. Yeah. There's no risk he's lost the ball. There's an argument that he may have lost it backwards. There's no downward pressure until the ball bounces and then he puts his hand on it. But can you lose it backwards and still ground it? I'll defer to my rules expert, Mr. Ray Warren. Rabbits.
Well, he's knocked it backwards, you're saying?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
So you're saying he can then ground it?
Well, I don't know whether it applies in this in-goal situation, but there's the try. It's on the board. Try's been awarded to Tohu Harrison, and that is so deserving, you know. He was put through that heartache at World Cup time. We'll come back. 12-10 Australia. The conversion attempt of the Harris try from Johnson. 16 in from touch, and he's got it away perfectly. So it's a converted try to the Kiwis. It is 12-12. Andrew John.
Well, it's 24 points in 23 minutes. This isn't a normal test match. Look at that man on screen there, Shaun Johnson. What we're seeing is not a defensive test match, but a very free-flowing attacking test match. If this turns into a game of touch footy, keep your eye on number 7. He'll wipe this game up.
You got me bemused with that question on rules, Gus. If he knocked it backwards, why couldn't he lean back and put a hand on it? As Bromwich brings the ball back. And then Josh Morris in the main with Cronk taking back a little bit. Now it's Hiku. Monday, of course, will take the Wide World of Sport cameras to Dubbo for City versus Country Origin. And I see that the mayor of Dubbo is thinking they might get 15,000 there on Sunday. That'll be a marvellous crowd at Apex. Played by Nightingale, now for Eastwood, and Sam Moa is back on. That's good news. I don't know whether Boyd Cordner wants to agree with me, though, because Sam just put him on the front end loader and shuffled him out of the way. This kick is going down towards the corner. It's a good kick. Right down adjacent to the corner post, off this kid's boot again, Shaun Johnson.
Well, the run from Sam Moa not only put Boyd Cordner on his backside, but it gave that man, Shaun Johnson, time to kick the football. And he made a good decision. Johnson looked to the right-hand side, goes up, kicks it back into the corner, and it's an excellent result. Good field position.
He's a very, very good talent, this kid. I made the point at the top of the telecast. In his 9th test match, but given the youth that they decided to go with, Johnson is one of their senior players, really. Here's Bird. He lost the ball, and this is a chance for the Kiwis. 18 metres out from the line, right in front.
Well, it slaps all around. Greg Eastwood, Sam Moa. It's Moa's arm. Knocks the football out.
That's got to be a loose carry.
And he did a great job, Moa, on that carry before the Johnson kick. It is so much easier to kick the football when you're going forward instead of back on your heels and trying to kick with some length and some direction.
Let's see what they've got to offer as Skycam centres in on a rugby league scrum. And it is out to Hiku. He'll play the ball 15 out on tackle 1. Havili to Mannering, and Simon, who's been, pardon the pun, a real warrior for them, hasn't he? For so long, and Moa's gone for the centre. He's gone for the jugular, and little Sam Moa has put it down under the crossbar.
You see, there's only so many times in your life this can be the most important game in your life. And I know for a lot of these young Kiwis, this is the biggest night of their life. I don't know how many of the Australians can boast that. And just the hunger of the two at the moment, the Kiwis are giving a really good account of themselves. Harvey Norman replay straight up the middle against the Aussies. You don't see that too often.
Well, there's the try scorer. He had to go back to the sheds for some attention to an injury, and he was off when Australia scored their first try. He's such an interesting individual, Sam Moa, as we watch Johnson get ready. He debuted with Cronulla back in 2008. I think he went to England. Peter knows more about him. Then he's with the Roosters now, of course. 5 years later, he scores a test try. He's played test matches for Tonga and for New Zealand. And here's the kick from right in front. Andrew John sideline. It's converted.
Yeah, this looks quite simple, but have a look at the defensive pattern here. The Australians only have one marker. When you have one marker, he shouldn't chase. And you see there, the number 17, Corey Parker, he chases. He chases dummy half, which opens up Sam Moa coming back on the inside. If you defend with one marker inside that 10-metre mark, the marker's got to have his wits about him and hold at marker.
It's a big couple of minutes for him. I think he played about 7 minutes in first grade for Cronulla. Went to Hull FC over in the English Super League. Sat him putting it back now. Put his kicker in the right position. Forced the mistake from Greg Bird. Scores a try. It's a nice...
This is Greg Eastwood on the end of a tackle that almost went horribly wrong. Mannering outside the 30-metre line. Well, 18 to 12. Some of you guys coming home from perhaps your Friday night beverage. Got it right. New Zealand, the black and white side, are in front by 6 over the green and gold side. As Johnson, who's been orchestrating everything out there, finds the line about 15 out from the line. Gus Gould.
Yeah, made the point during the week, newspaper column in the Herald, that while this is one of the greatest Australian sides we've seen in recent times, the average age here tonight is just shy of 29 years of age. We're 3.5 years away from the next World Cup. How many of these players will be going around in 3.5 years' time in the Australian side? It's right to reward their winning efforts last year, and they deserve to be here this evening. But I think what we're seeing here is youth and exuberance and everything from the Kiwis as they start their rebuilding process. There's a couple of the younger ones there on the sideline. Australia just caught napping a little bit at the moment, I think, on the score of enthusiasm.
And here they come with Josh Morris, tackle.
He's already tackled you, flopped in and held him down.
So he's basically said to Proctor, you've had a second go, the tackle's been made, and then you've gone back in and held him down. So Cameron Smith finding the line approximately at the halfway junction. Proctor, of course, has been in the news. Thoughts are that he may be coming to the Sydney Roosters from the Melbourne Storm. Gallen with the ball. And we'll play it back to Cameron Smith. That's the man I'm talking about, Proctor. There it is, the corner, short into Josh Morris, and they put numbers into the defence, including young Harris, who got the try. And back to the middle now to Cronk, and Cronk to Tamo. And James, who decided to play for Australia and not New Zealand within the last couple of years, plays the ball now. And across the face of Parker to Thurston, to Slater, to Inglis, and they've got him tabbed over there and put him into touch.
Boy.
Who was it, Faray or Beale? Faray, I think.
Faray.
Yeah, that'll be doing Faray all right.
Whoa.
Got him solid. They backed off really nicely here, the New Zealand side. They covered the edge of the field. You watch here as they'll come up and cover, and as soon as it goes out the back, they back off and head sideways. And Faray, really good footwork and drive, hits Greg Inglis and drives him out over the sideline. That's a real confidence booster for his teammates. He's an extraordinarily good defender, this young man, and improving all the time.
When did you last see that, Rabs? Greg Inglis driven sideways. In up underneath the ribs, driving.
Look at the size of him too. Just there for a second of Faray. I won't say he's small, but by comparison with Inglis, got him right where you have to get him, under the rib cage and drive. And so Havili gives it to Eastwood now. We always like to give our sponsors, our rugby league sponsors, a wrap, and Pertec, I notice, are the sponsors of New Zealand still. Pertec Stadium at Parramatta now as well. Here's Adam Blair. And from Havili now, he's going to put the right foot on it and send it down to Slater. It wriggles around down there before Slater gives it to Boyd. Boyd goes away to Josh Morris, and Proctor's there with it. They're down there shaking hands with them, aren't they? Chasing everything and chasing it with urgency.
Yeah, that was good. That was good hustle. Even though Australia put it through the hands, they just come up and met them and won plenty of territory.
Gallen. And again, 3 in the tackle. Blair, Proctor, Havili, Boyd Cordner. And down the centre of the ground now. In the central corridor. 18-12 in favour of New Zealand. About 7 minutes of the first half to go. As Proctor makes the tackle on Slater. Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk. Kicks back into the middle of the ground. It bounces favourably to Tuivasa-Sheck. It could be a dangerous pastime, kicking to him in broken play.
And I've noticed that Heku and Tuivasa-Sheck have swapped positions when they get down in the attacking zone, as the Roosters do with Minicello and Tuivasa-Sheck. Tuivasa-Sheck coming in behind to play the ball as a fullback.
Goes Johnson. Top point scorer, as I said, in the World Cup, Shaun Johnson. Right now, though, as I've made the point a couple of times, he's quite happy to direct the tackle. His forwards are doing a good job for him. Comes in when required. Takes the steering wheel. Here he is now. This time he's mixing his kicking game up a lot. That's pretty much a midfield bomb down to Slater. Slater's trying. Oh, Slater taken high by Proctor. It was a desperate tackle from Proctor. Slater beat him with footwork, and Proctor just hung an arm out.
And a big 5 minutes coming up here to take us into the break. Now I'm just coming up off the football there. Between the Melbourne teammates, Kevin Proctor disappointed with himself because he has now given the Australians 20-25 metres off the boot of Cameron Smith. And it would be a huge boost to their belief, the Kiwis, if they go into the break at half-time. Australia looking to hit late. Scott.
Centre of the ground. Scott back in his second session. Away from Boyd Cordner, coming down the right side of the ground. Nightingale and Beale defending on that side with Mannering. Miles just outside the 30-metre line. And to Cronk now. He drifts, he straightens. Greg Eastwood was quite athletic there. Smith on to Thurston, and Thurston to ground. That's the 10 in front of him. Greg Inglis dummy half. Cooper Cronk, here's this kick they've been setting up for. The Morris twins are after it. Might have come off their hand.
Knock on.
And it's a knock on, so it's a 20-metre restart. I repeat, international rules. It's an optional, but they only get the 6 count, not the 7 count. So The Voice, the blind audition, starts on Sunday at 6:30. New superstar coaches Kylie Minogue and will.i.am join Joel and Ricky, taking the show to a whole new level. The Voice blind auditions, Sunday at 6:30, after the news, after City versus Country Origin from Dubbo.
This doesn't look good for Jason Nightingale. Is it? The Australian players around him are very concerned about his welfare. Okay. So the leg injury that he's picked up here, and you can see pointing to the outside of the knee. Forward from the tap, and then the momentum of the tacklers coming over the top has put him into an awkward position.
And I think it's fair to say I don't think I've ever seen Jason any time in his career feigning injury. So we've got a problem here. We'll take a break. It's 18-12. The New Zealanders are leading in the Test match. Wonderful play. I'm not taking the cab, though. In fact, I'm not sure I'm out of here yet. He may be saying under his breath. Well, Jason Nightingale was offered the Medicab. He basically refused and is going to persist.
Let's tackle one.
So it's going to be possibly quite serious. Turns out with a bit of movement in the knee and a bit of blood getting down to where the injury was. Nightingale's okay. At least we hope he is. To Powell. Martin to Powell. Away then for John. Isaac John is on, who plays with the Penrith club, and here is Johnson getting a ball to screw around, and it goes in touch in goal, so Australia come up with the ball. Just a free carry back to the 20-metre line. Isaac John, of course, he played quite a bit of
wait for the kick,
top grade, but in the rebuild out of Penrith, Wallace and Soward have got the job, and Isaac John has been playing with the Windsor Wolves more often than not. Is that right?
No, we've got our own reserve grade side this year, Rabbits. The Windsor Wolves aren't our reserve grade side anymore, but Isaac played a number of games early in the season in first grade when either Soward or Wallace weren't around, and he's been a tremendous value to the club in the time he spent there.
So here's Cronk now going back in for Inglis, and Inglis taken by Harris. They're not about to give the big fellow much room to move. Cronk gets it over the top, and it bounces up there for Hiku, who immediately says, "Where's the ground?" And the Morris brothers say, "Here it is here." Over the touchline,
well, big moment coming up now. It's a clever kick and a great chase from the Australians. They force the issue right down the sideline there from Cronk. Sits up. Morris is there, gets good contact, holds him up, and the two Morris brothers throw him out into the grandstand. But it opens up for Australia to have last say in this first half. Just under 2 minutes left on the clock, and they trail by 6. They'll be very hungry for a try here.
Arms over the top now, over the top, please.
There's a very big gap between Billy Slater, who's playing kind of in behind the scrum as a 5'8", and then Jonathan Thurston's 30 metres the other side.
Come to the blind side, and Slater to Josh Morris. Safely held, but there's your corner post. Now for Boyd Cordner, first receiver. Second is called. Smith, Cronk, behind a couple of decoys. Thurston then goes short into Bird. And the Bird man will play the ball. So close to the line. Here's a dummy out the back from Parker. To Power goes in to make the tackle with Harris. And now the little kick in from the captain, but it's been deflected dead by Sean Johnson. Who else?
Well, nice set of 6 defence there from the New Zealanders, but they're going to have to do it again. Australia will get a few tackles up their sleeve before the siren goes.
They've gone short and flat a lot tonight, the Australians. They've had a big line out to the left there on a number of occasions, and they've hit the flat man. Assuming second half, they'll look for the other options and go in behind and try and get the ball out to Greg Inglis.
Tim Shearings is 27th in charge of the Australian side. This is Matthew Scott. Down with Mannerings has earned the attention of Hayne, and the penalty goes to Australia. So we're not to half-time yet.
Stay there.
Then again, up the middle with Nate Miles. And only a matter of seconds remaining.
This will be the last play.
And here they go, behind Parker, the Cronk, and here's Boyd Cordner, and tackled securely. And that is half-time. Well done by New Zealand. They've come here, they couldn't find a wrap anywhere for their chances. Rink outsiders. $8, I think, was bet. 18-12 they lead at half-time. Andrew John.
Remember the Australian captain Cameron Smith, what went wrong that first half?
Oh, I just made too many errors, Joey, and a couple of our penalties just invited them up our own end. And yeah, they're a good side, you know. We're a lot of talk during the week about how young they are, but we never underestimated them. We knew they had a lot of talent, and it's shown on the scoreboard, mate.
Good luck in the seconds.
All right, Cameron Smith giving us of his time, as Greg Inglis did in the warm-up tonight. That was just unbelievable. Thank you to them. Darren Lockyer, Andrew Johns joined Cameron to take us through the VB hard-earned first half highlights. It's Holden half-time, and you're watching Test match football.
See every game I play next year in the NRL on Premier Sports.
Time? We have no time for. Hours and minutes don't matter when you live every second. Here's to here and now. San Miguel Fresca. Mañana can wait.
Get kitted out in the very latest NRL Rugby League gear with downunderleisure.co.uk. We've got a huge range of players' jerseys, training tops and vests, retro jerseys, t-shirts and polos, plus official Kangaroos and State of Origin merchandise. And with a huge range of boots, balls and pads and headguards, we have everything you need to get behind your team or take to the field yourself. Visit us online at downunderleisure.co.uk for same-day dispatch.
Wait!
League Weekly, the super newspaper bringing you super coverage of our super sport. Faster than a speeding Josh Charnleyman, more powerful than a Burgess brother, and able to break huge stories in a single article. With reports by your favorite superheroes from all over the rugby league world. Is it a newspaper? Is it a website? It's League Weekly, your #1 rugby league newspaper. Subscribe now or pick up your copy in newsagents this Monday.
LoveRugbyLeague.com is the ultimate home on the web for rugby league news, stats and live scores. Join in the debate on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Show off your knowledge and win prizes in our fantasy league and tipping competitions. Keep up with everything rugby league on our mobile app, available on iPhone and Android. Love Rugby League is your rugby league home on the internet. Visit LoveRugbyLeague.com today.
What happens when you combine our superior care with indulgent ingredients? You get our most delicious body lotion ever. Immerse yourself in Dove Purely Pampering Body Lotion.
It's time to set the record straight. BetDAQ charged new customers a maximum of 3% commission versus 5% at Betfair. That means more for you. So ask yourself, which sports betting exchange really gives you value? BetDAQ, the sports betting exchange. Join now for your £25 free matched bet.
Well, they're having a good time here at Allianz Stadium, particularly those dressed in the black and the white, although that's a Technicolor shot of the crowd. And it's a good crowd. It really is. And people might think, well, why are there so many vacant seats? But it didn't get much help, I can assure you, in the pre-match publicity, as the Kiwis leading 18-12 on their way back out. What a magnificent and complete first half did their number 7 have.
Well, they've been really good, and they're 40 minutes away from what will only be described as one of the greatest upsets of all time if they can hang on and win this. And if we're going to tout Australia as one of the greatest Australian teams ever seen, then a win by the Kiwis tonight has to be one of the greatest test wins in their history if they can pull it off.
And if we do feel that way about the Kangaroos, this is a perfect opportunity for them to go on and prove that in the second 40 minutes. Stephen Kearney for New Zealand has used all 17 players in the first half. Darren Lockyer says that he believes Daly Cherry Evans and Matt Gillett will make a different second half. Keen to find out when Tim Sheen will bring them into the game and in what fashion.
I mentioned Isaac John and made a Freudian error in talking about the Windsor Wolves, but he reminds me of Olsen Filipina. He basically did the same thing. Came through from reserve grade in 1985 with the Kiwi side that defeated Australia. And I think Olsen lined up against, there's Isaac, I'm talking about him now. I think he lined up against Wally Lewis.
Yeah, made a name for himself.
Olsen Filipina had legs like tree trunks, didn't he?
Yeah, you never know, this young man might make a name for himself in the second half. Well, I don't mind you mentioning the Windsor Wolves, Rabbits. They're a great old club. Very valuable to the Penrith Junior Rugby League.
So Australia then, with a little bit of territory to make up. And the Kiwis leading by 6 at half-time to Powell, bringing the ball back. And now for Harris, who's been good. Ian Proctor and Bromwich and Moa have laid a foundation for Johnson to work with. This is Bromwich now. I think Filipina was working on a garbage truck, wasn't he? They pulled him off the garbage truck and said, you've got to play number 6 for New Zealand.
Most footballers were in those days, Rabbits.
This is Havili.
They all had a job doing something.
So John was a dummy half, and Johnson put a little double pump on it. Ball went across, and Farray dribbles the ball across the sideline. There's a shot there of Farray with Greg Inglis behind him. We were talking about their comparative sizes earlier on.
It was a smart play there. I mean, that ball came to him on tackle 5. There wasn't much on offer, and he's not one expected to kick in that situation, so he just did it really simply. The ball come dribbling out. There was nothing on. Didn't try for too much, just banged it down the sideline and said, well, we won't put an error on top of an error here. We'll just put it out and walk down to the scrum and get ready to tackle.
Australia coming up with the scrum win. Cameron Smith it was tackled, and Greg Bird might have taken a high shot here from Tapau. And 18-12 the score. Australia get the penalty just inside their 30-metre line, and there's the man that threw the high shot on Greg Bird. And it's come up off the ball, and then basically his hand is rubbed across the face of Bird. So the whole thing was exemplified. Penalties are 6-1 in favour of Australia. But before we start making excuses, the penalty count is 6-1 in favour of the home side, and they're 6 behind on the scoreboard. Here's Bird off his left foot. 30-metre line, that's what you can see. And for Corey Parker now, looking to offload. He's got Lots of ability in that area. Playing it back for Cameron Smith, and now to Cooper Cronk. I think Peter did ask the same question when Cherry Evans would come into this game. And Scott is getting it back for Cameron Smith to try and get across the 10-metre line. He put a kick in. There's a try. No, there's not. It's too late. Darius Boyd, for a moment, I thought was going to make it. With in touch in goal, and Tuivasa-Sheck is rushing back to the 20.
Well, his instincts were right, as they generally are, Cameron Smith. If the kick had had just a little bit less weight on it, they were lining up to score for Australia out wide. As Nightingale, who's made a remarkable recovery. He had real concerns for him when he went down first half. Well, he's out there strapped up and ready to go.
Playing the ball on his own red line, and Bird lying in the play the ball. Referee deciding there was no obstruction to the attack of New Zealand, so he lets play go on. Bromwich.
He played that as hard as he could back into the back line there too, to no avail.
I'm surprised he wasn't at the Logies, actually. This is Blair. And that's too much in the tackle from Australia.
He loses the ball and he gets it back. Don't do that.
All right, Peter. 6 in front. Do they go to 8, or do they kick it out and keep attacking here?
No, keep attacking. We've got great belief at the moment. They've had success when they've been in this attacking 20 zone in the first half. I just think they go for more. They might not get a lot of opportunities second half, so take them when they present themselves. He's kicked it dead.
20-metre drop kick will be the restart. It's a bad blue by New Zealand. There's no option. There's no option on this kick.
Kicking for goal. No, not from a penalty. It's no different from kicking for goal. Hit the rules, mate.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens about once a decade where a fella kicking for touch from a penalty kicks it dead in goal. It's the same result as if he had a penalty kick for goal and missed. It starts with a 20-metre dropout.
Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk, they wanted to mount an argument with Shane Hayne.
Should have taken the 2 points.
Yeah, well, that's right. Here's Harris now. He's right on the 40-metre line. Bromwich lines up for the next run.
See, they've made good inroads, these big forwards for New Zealand tonight. They've really ploughed away at the advantage.
Johnson held it up beautifully to give it to Mannering. And he's tackled just outside 20. That's the 20-metre line. To the middle for Johnson. Johnson in and away, and then it's gone through John, and then it's gone out. And Hiku it was that threw the final pass before the New Zealand carrier of the ball was bundled into touch, Jared Beale.
And when you're a playmaker, you've got to get a feel for where the player's going. And what you'll feel here is the attack is going sideways, the defence is going sideways. So this player here, the fullback Hiku, he's got a dummy and dig into the line. All he's done is dump the problem off to his outside centre there. He'll just get picked up and shoved into touch. And that's inexperience from Hiku. When you're playing in these big rep games where the players are so good and so strong, sometimes you've just got to dig in and take the tackle yourself. Because if you send it sideways, all you're doing is giving someone else a problem.
Spider cam then zeroes in, and Josh Morris plays the ball. That's the 10-metre line. Australia's into the third. Sunday, of course, City versus Country up at Dubbo. I guess both sides will be up there watching the test match tonight, quite obviously. And then on Sunday night, 6 o'clock the news, followed at 6:30 by the voice blind auditions. It's back on Sunday night. 18-12 New Zealand as Cronk kicks long. Bounce good for Hiku. Comes 15, comes 20. Make that 25 from Hiku. And there's just a bit of an eye injury there.
Yeah, he got hit hard by Martin Tapau over the top. Over on this side of the field. You'll see Tapau come in and slap him and hits him up around the eye, and it's a real problem. You get a contact up around there as a penalty goes to
New Zealand for Josh Morris holding down in the tackle.
They've got a run of penalties, haven't they, since I emphasised Australia had the count at 6-1. Here's Harris now. They're 30 metres away from the line with this 18-12 lead, the Kiwis. And that is Tapau. Centre of the ground. And Havili to John, and in from the back is Hiku, and the ball goes to ground. Knock on against New Zealand.
That's bad luck, but that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. What's the difference here? Where rather than dumping the problem off to his outside supports, he shows and goes and he digs into them. The ball will come out the back. He sees half a chance at 3-on-2, but that gets the defence moving sideways. Then he digs into him. If he holds on to that and gets a quick play of the ball, New Zealand have got a roll on. That's a better way for him to play it, particularly in the big games. It's all about running the ball, not so much passing it.
Lock it in. Ball in. Yep.
Slater straight up on a blindside play. That's Brett Morris playing the ball, and that took a bit of a sting out of him. Tackle on him from Boyd Cordner, that was, who played the ball. Nate Miles has lost it, and Hayne is of the opinion that Nate might have been trying to unload the ball. It was loose anyway.
Look at the head patting here going on from the Kiwis. This is all good for them. Every little mistake that the Australians make is a confidence builder to the Kiwis, and they're enjoying this.
He was getting ready to offload.
Yeah.
And he did last carry and just threw a pretty dusty one out the back. It's certainly something you don't need to be doing it in your own end when you've had trouble controlling the football, as the Australians have had tonight.
Billy, lock him in tight. Nate, get your head down, thank you. Ball in.
Shane Hayne in his first test match controlling Australia-New Zealand.
Tackle one, release.
And David tells me it's his first test match in charge of an Australian side. Here's Simon Mannering. 25 away. 36th test match for Mannering. And this is Adam Blair being buckled back over by the tackle of Bird and Miles. Titans combination. Johnson. Now Faray. And Corey Parker comes over the top with Nate Miles to shut him down. Isaac John away to Harris, and Harris reeled into the ground on the 10-metre line though. Isaac John now, he kicks, Thurston's underneath it, so too Greg Inglis. And Inglis is back to the 20-metre line. All of the Australians onside, officials okay, and Thurston is tackled. And Darius Boyd now running into the 16. Greg Eastwood from New Zealand. Parker really in the tackle with Harris and Proctor. In fact, to Bromwich. Now for Gallen. Miles straight ahead. And a good metres gained by the Queensland back rower. He's asked a question. Penalty, sir? Yes, and he got one.
We didn't get to play the ball. You let him up.
The penalty goes to Australia, and that puts them very much on the attack here. Parker. Seemingly has recovered. Dummies to Gallen, goes behind one. Cronk goes on. Slater, he provides a long pass for Brett, and Brett Morris goes in to score his second try of the night.
The Australians taking advantage of consecutive sets. A penalty given away by Jesse Bromwich when he went back over the man playing the football, and then Cameron Smith hurdled him. And mentioned earlier that they'd gone flat a lot tonight, but on the Harvey Norman replay you can see this time they do go second man to Billy Slater, and he throws the cutout pass for Brett Morris to cross.
23 tries for Brett now in Test match football. There's our try score, his 23rd Test try. Misprinting a program earlier. But 2 tonight takes him to 23. Two from 2 for Jonathan. That record is 137, chasing 141 to become the biggest goal kicker in Test history. Taking the title away from Mal Meninga, put him one closer, and the scoreboard again is level. And why wouldn't you be mad about Morris? Darren Lockyer.
Yeah, just a little bit of an experience by Zach John in the defence there. Just too tight to his defender inside him. And what they did was put doubt in Jared Bill and Nightingale's mind. They started to come in when they didn't need to. Great execution, Australia, though.
He had to put the brakes on pretty quickly, didn't he, Brett? Got pretty close to the end of the tarmac. Tamo. And he's had the ball taken off him. I would have fancied the tackle had been made.
Ball's lost.
And he's going to give New Zealand the feed here.
Well, the errors have been quite uncharacteristic from the Australians tonight. And he's taken down here, he just loses a grip on the ball. The ball lands underneath him. And the correct decision there. No strip. Opportunity for the Kiwis to hit back.
Paul Gallen, I noticed, packing into the scrum as hooker, or in that position. Blood coming from a wound on his face. That's Beale. Just inside the 20-metre line, Australia's end. And Harris is met by Gallen and 3 others.
He came into the game with stitches there after a head clash with Nigel Plum, last play of the game last week, as Jesse Bromwich has been tremendous tonight. Attracts 3 defenders.
There's your uprights, and that's the proximity of the ball. And it's with Greg Eastwood. He stops and he stutters there for a moment or two. He'll play the ball, the big man from Canterbury. And it goes away. Henry is back out there. Isaac John right stepping to be a metre away. And Henry again puts some depth into it to Johnson. And Thurston's on Johnson. Johnson's able to offload. Gets the ball away selectively to Farre. He puts a kick in. Nightingale is coming from nowhere. The ball is in the arms of Australia, though. A metre out from the line. Played out there by Brett Morris, it was. And this is his brother. And that's the try line just behind them. Tamo. It was quite impromptu from New Zealand. Johnson keeping it alive, and Farre kicked to a running Nightingale.
Well, it was the last tackle. Sean Johnson was going to get caught with it. That would have been terrible, just handed over. So Farre, again, the second time tonight, he's come up with an astute kick.
Cronk then, talking of kicking, down to the 20, Chil Vasashek. And met by Greg Bird, and then they go, 4 of them. The diminutive winger from the Sydney Roosters. Here's Hiku. And he's lost the ball. So Australia now will get the benefit of the loose head and feed at 18 all and 16 minutes gone, second half.
Yeah, well, this is dangerous for New Zealand because they haven't really shown a great ability to defend their own try line, particularly from set situations against Australia. The tries that Australia have scored have been quite comfortable. Bird hitting through the line on the left, and Morris untouched on the right twice. Once off a scrum win and once off a set play on tackle 2.
Australia was Slater, taken by Harris. He covers ground fast for a big man, doesn't he, Harris? Cordner. 25 away. Miles, Cronk, Thurston, and then Bird and Slater, and now Inglis. Again, they shut the door on the big fellow. The line is about 7 metres away, but it's a penalty, Australia. Not releasing.
Well, everybody in the Australian team there just saying, relax, slow down, relax. Cooper Cronk has a conversation with Cameron Smith as to what to do. Do we kick for goal? No, we'll take the tap. Gallen.
Takes it to the middle of the ground. Bromwich pulling him down eventually. As Cameron comes across, Dummies goes to Inglis. Tried to reach out. Couldn't quite get it there. Smith now quickly to Thurston. Wide out to Cronk. Inside for Cordner. Reeling out of a tackle and held by Mannery. 15 out from the New Zealand line at 18 all. Thurston. Bird outside, inside ball for Slater. And well read there by Adam Blair. Locked up into the play the ball area. Inglis, the Thurston, they come back, they go out again. And Slater is with the ball. But he's taken there by Bromwich, picked up by Tamo. And Tamo is 7 metres out from the line. So here's Smith with a little kick in now. And Slater's down in back play. Johnson tries to get it back. I don't think he did. Well, and I don't know what happened to Slater either.
Well, who hit Johnson here? Because he looked certain to get back into the field of play. And it was a massive shot from one of the Australians looming up on the outside. A little dribble kick here. Here's Inglis reaching out very close. Was tempted to try and have a dip on tackle 5. Here's the other one. Slater going Christ outside, inside. And on tackle 5, Cameron Smith dribbled one into the in goal. It's picked up by Johnson. Now he's virtually out now. Bang. Who was it? 8 Miles. Brilliant shot.
I'll do well to hang on here, New Zealand. 3 sets in a row. Tamo winds it up.
Comes into Proctor and Isaac John.
Release.
They were the unfortunate pair that Tamo was aiming at. Now Nate Miles. He's right in the middle of the ground on the 20. 2 tackles gone on this set. Cordner. Cronk is calling it. That's him. Across the run around on Gallen, Thurston, Slater. Here's Greg Inglis again. Greg Inglis gets his 23rd test try.
Too much there for New Zealand. And you can see the intent in the Australians. And that's a Melbourne play. Phil mentioned earlier the advantage of having combinations. This is a play they use with Kevin Proctor going to the line on the outside and turning his back and hitting the man back on the inside. And Billy Slater back on the inside to Greg Inglis. Blair did his best, but the big man not to be denied.
23 tries in 29 test matches, making his debut back in 2006. There is the try scorer on our big screens, Greg Inglis.
Yeah, welcome back. We've got Jonathan Thurston here lining up a kick. You got the best view at home here. Just going to line him up. Watch when he kicks this ball, he gets a natural arc on it. So if you can see that Australian flag up there with the sponsors board there, just the boxing kangaroo, that's his target area. So what he'll do, he'll aim that ball for there, and as the ball goes up and releases its power, it'll start to hook. He'll go through his motions here, go through his routine. There, out near that flag and moves it in. There he is, a genius at work. Beautiful to watch.
Well done. Andrew Johns. Greg Inglis, the try scorer.
And I think that play, just the way they angled Inglis back on the inside there, was a compliment to the way Dean Farray has defended him out wide. Every time they've tried to go around Farray, he's handled Inglis pretty comfortably. So on this occasion, they brought Inglis back on the inside, and it was Adam Blair who was lazy for the Kiwis back on the inside, and he couldn't come up with the grab. And it shows that the Australians are a thinking man's football team as well.
24 plays 18 now. Gillett is out there from the Brisbane club. Boyd Cordner. Smith. Held by Harris and Proctor. Couple of wild haircuts out there. Wild men of the Panthers. Tamo. Middle of the ground, they're 30 metres out. Right side play. And the Cronk kick is going down to Nightingale. And they obviously had visions of taking him back into the in goal, but Nightingale was just a little bit smarter than they were.
Yeah, he did a super job there. And he made Peter Hiku's task so much easier, as he would have been nailed back on the into the in goal area.
Tuivasa-Sheck now. And a penalty goes New Zealand.
Good work here by Roger the Dodger.
Not yet, not yet.
He got beautiful footwork and back through the middle of the ruck there. Was able to force a low tackle, get to his stomach, and then quickly bounced up trying to play the ball to win the penalty. Remember that Australia led by 6 halfway through the first half and trailed at half time. We're writing New Zealand off just yet, although they've got a ways to go to get back into this at the moment.
Moa, the previous ball carrier, now to Eastwood. Am I right that Daly Cherry Evans is the last man standing for Australia, or the last man sitting?
Yes.
20 metres out from the line then. Here they come, the Kiwis, with John working it back on the inside for Proctor. 15 away. And Henry is the dummy half now, and Moa, who scored a try with brute strength and determination. Line about 3 metres in front of them. They come back to Johnson, and Johnson got it away to Hiku to come in. He puts a kick in, it'll be too deep, or will it be? Just there, I thought they might have been going to rake it back in. Similar to a try we saw at the cricket ground in the Centenary Test.
Yeah, well, they got that wrong, New Zealand. They're the kind of things that hurt at this level. They had to, if they were going to run the football to some degree, which they tried to, they had to eventually get the ball in goal and get the ball back. Australians, they got momentum out of having sets in a row at the other end. New Zealand had an opportunity there and they spurned it.
This is Gallen. There's Daly sitting there, waiting his turn. Gordon Thurston, Scott. Cherry Evans, of course, in that big win against Canberra last weekend, they say it was a virtuoso performance. And this ball has come off, and New Zealand have bounced into an Australian, has it? No, referee said play on. New Zealand's ball with Farray.
Well, in these representative teams, Ray, if you keep a specialist hooker or halfback on the bench, he's virtually only there for injury. And it's hard to get him into the game otherwise if injury doesn't present itself. So Daly Cherry Evans could find himself there for the outset unless Australia kick away here and put the result beyond doubt. It's not easy to get a specialist onto the field unless there's injury.
To Powell. He's almost through, a determined run for the number 15 up to the halfway line, centre of the ground. And Johnson catch and kick. And Slater will take this back on his 10-metre line. Winger drops back. Darius Boyd, he's with the ball on the 20-metre line. Straight is in. Brett Morris inside his brother this time.
He's had a quiet night, Darius Boyd. He's had half a dozen runs, but hasn't had to make a tackle in the game. They haven't come his way.
Scott. James Tarmo in there on his teammate, club teammate. Australia kick out of dummy half. It's rolling and going dead.
What's your pass?
In touch in goal. Hiku will bring it back to the 20-metre line. Some of his players just getting onside. Attack Hiku. And he reaches the 30-metre line. 24 to 18. Nightingale.
Only 12 to go. Getting down to it now. It's a power.
Power it was. And this has gone out and over to Tuivasa-Sheck. A lot of work to do. Pushed away from Boyd. Looks to step through. Puts it out the back for Johnson. The dummy, the left foot step, and Johnson goes to ground.
There's the future of the Kiwis right there. Couple of live wires.
Now Bromwich. Thrusting it back, and it is with Henry. And it's to be played 25 away. With the 69th minute ticking by. And Johnson again, no look pass, and it's come away. And tackled is Farray, who tried to pass. And the referee's given a penalty. Well, I thought he tried to pass on the ground.
So he's passed it though.
No, I've already called it. I've ruled you've taken it.
A few calls held and he passes it.
But I didn't see it that way. I saw that he just took it off him. Hang on, not yet.
Watch it. No, he tried to pass it.
Yeah.
That's what Cameron Smith was saying, and Jonathan Thurston saying the same thing. I know they're not always telling the truth, but that's the way we saw it. Anyway, Moa plays the ball. It might be a very big call. Here's Tapau stepping out of a tackle or two before getting it to Proctor. Now they're 10 metres out, the Kiwi.
Big tackle, Brett Morris.
So it's come away to Isaac John. Lays it back for Bromwich. And this tower of strength for the black and whites. This time to ground, close to the line. Behind Moa, Johnson, long, Farah, came off a hand. Wondering off what hand.
Touched off Australia.
It's come off Australia. It's a New Zealand feed.
So it's a knock-on back here.
They're getting some chances, the Kiwis. Yeah. A very fortuitous call, and Farah tried to pass earlier.
I'd called... Hang on. You've asked... Hang on. You asked me. I'm going to explain to you.
Oh, ask him.
Yeah, but you were talking. I'd called Held. The way I saw it, he took it off him. He may well have passed it, but the way I saw it, he just took it off him. That's just how I saw it, mate.
All right, we're under 10 minutes to go here. And who would have believed the Kiwis would still be in it at this stage? And it's a matter of whether or not they believed it was possible before the game. Their own confidence and self-belief is going to be what's put to the test here in the next 9 minutes. If they really believe they can come up with the levelling score and then the go-ahead points.
Johnson combining with Farah. He's on the 10-metre line. Down the middle of the ground, and this man has been good, hasn't he, to Powell? 5 metres out. Played the ball, caught Henry napping, picks it up and goes back towards the chalk. Mannering says, where do you want it? Who wants it? They come to the blind side, and it's Johnson, skipping, pirouetting. He's gone round twice, it'll be the bell lap in a moment. Now it's come down to Moa, and he'll play the ball. 9 metres out from the line. Henry again, to Powell again. And this is the last now. So it's lack creation. And now, long from Henry. Onto Johnson's boot. He lays it in behind Morris. And it's gone dead off New Zealand. And Australia are sprinting back to the 20.
Yeah, that was a really ordinary set of 6 there from the Kiwis and a poor end to it.
And Cherry Evans, I see on the sideline, about to come into the test match.
Well, assuming it won't be for Cooper Cronk, so as we've seen in the past, I imagine he'll just be used as a back rower type player.
It's a tough time to throw him into the action, isn't it? Not long to go. He's been sitting there for a long, long time, cooling down after a warm-up pre-game.
Gillett.
Well, surely it can't be for Cronk or Thurston. I couldn't see that being the case. As Cronk tries to put him out.
Here they go down the right side, and Josh Morris in for Cooper Cronk, and the Australian number 7 goes over.
And that's Test football. At the other end of the field, at the end of their set, a poor set it was. New Zealand put the ball dead instead of maintaining the pressure. And New Zealand, Australians, I'm sorry, being the world champions they are, come down the other end of the field on the Harvey Norman replay, create an overlap on the right-hand side. Cordner did well, found Josh Morris. Cooper Cronk, his second touch, backing up on the inside. And an easy conversion for Jonathan Thurston.
Cooper Cronk, the try scorer. The two halves are there now, or two of the halves. Cronk, Cherry Evans, and of course Thurston makes 3. But the heir apparent for that 7 jumper is out there now. So the 14 jumper is out there. It's Daly Cherry Evans from Manly, Queenslander, and replacing Matt Gillett. So the 3 halves are there now: Thurston, Cronk, and Cherry Evans.
And always thinking Cameron Smith just telling his players there'll be a short kickoff coming from New Zealand, so be ready for that.
This kick will be 5 from 5 for Jonathan Thurston. It'll put him 1 behind Mal Meninga's all-time record Test goals at 141. Well, here it is from Jonathan. He converts, he keeps a perfect record together. Darren Lockyer on the sideline.
Yeah, nice reward for Cooper Cronk. Then the back of absorbing a lot of pressure on their own in goal. They looked to attack straight away with Morris from the tap. And it was a nice little read from Cronk. He put it out there to the right, backs up like all good halfbacks. And a surprising crowd number, 25,429. There was a bit of worry through the week they weren't going to get to 20, but it's a good crowd.
It is a good crowd, Darren. You're absolutely right. 30 plays 18, Australia running away from that crowd of yellow that you see down at the southern end, the Roo crew, who've been very vocal right through the night.
Well, that was a poor restart from Sean Johnson. He didn't go short, he didn't go long. He just allowed Australia to get out too easily. Greg Bird now on the 3rd tackle, just shy of the 40, wrestling his way closer towards it.
Jesse, just stand up, Greg. Just stand up.
So Cherry Evans is away from dummy half. It's tackled in the middle of the ground by Bromwich. That in itself is a tribute to the performance of Jesse Bromwich, chasing down a number 7 at this time of the game after the effort that he's given in this Test match. Thurston along, Cronk to the boot. Slater was he onside, Nightingale under it, raked back then by was it Boyd or Cordner? It was Boyd, and it's back down to New Zealand, and it's back down to Isaac John. Now comes Jared Beale, and he's almost to the 40-metre line.
An 18-0 second half to the Australians. Pretty professionally done without being brilliant. It's important that New Zealand don't concede another 1 or 2 before full time, because that for tonight they've been really good. Very committed, very enthusiastic. Probably lacked a little bit of finesse when it counted most, but they've given a very, very good account of themselves.
Moa then. Havili is back on in forward. Bromwich, look at him. He's still galloping strong. 30-metre line. Left side play, Johnson hesitates. Cherry Evans has just ankle tapped him. Come to Blair, gone to Mannering. Now it's gone away to Farray. The Australian Inglis slipped and fell. Tuivasa Sheck puts a kick in. Picked up then by Smith. Given back to Slater. He's covered by Mannering. Thurston to Inglis now.
Yeah, late in the game, New Zealand under pressure. Their decision making hasn't been up to what they needed to go on and win a Test like this. Australians well seasoned in doing so as Paul Gallen takes the ball forward. Corey Parker prepares to come on. Cherry Evans working out of dummy half.
Australia now well within sight of their 16th consecutive win, which will equal the record set by the Kangaroos between 79 and 83. Cronk plugging it down into Nightingale's corner. Don't know that knee is totally okay for him. He's been brave. Hiku's been good. He's much more than a deputy, as I alluded to earlier. Here is Nightingale.
Well, there's no doubt that the Australians have targeted that side of the field tonight, Nightingale's wing. Darius Boyd hasn't had to make a tackle on this left wing. Australia, the ball's always going to the right.
That ball from Moa back to John. 30 metres out from their own line, the NZers. 30 plays 18. Don't forget, on Sunday, our telecast is City versus Country Origin. It's play on. Havili to Faray. Yes, City Country. 4 o'clock the telecast from Apex Oval up there. Faray, Johnson. This time he kicks down into Morris's corner, but Slater takes the job. This is Brett Morris. 2 tries tonight, trying to break away from Havili. Nearly gave a penalty, the number 14 from New Zealand. And here's Slater ducking under a tackle. Cherry Evans for Corey Parker.
John Thurston just saying to the trainer there, he picked up a cork. He doesn't think it's anything serious. He's got the left one on the thermo skin, as you can see, as Gallen spins out of a tackle. They'd love to put another try on in this final possession for them, you would think.
Gallen very slow to get up. And around, maybe he thought it was sort of foul play in there as Smith kicks down to Hiku. So Australia, you would think, have seen the football for the last time tonight. As Hiku is put down with about 15 seconds of the test match to go. And while Australia are going to win 30-18, there is full time. It's been a valiant performance by the very much analysed New Zealand new look side. Australia 30 then, defeating New Zealand 18. The Kiwis at halftime led 18-12. So Australia have had a big second half, but they had to pull out all stops to match the exuberance of this New Zealand side under Stephen Kearney. Andrew Johns.
Yeah, with Greg Inglis, real tough test match, that one.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, we didn't come in with our head switched on from the start, and you know, Kiwis came out with more enthusiasm, and we had to match that, and definitely showed in the last 20 minutes.
We haven't been put in that situation for several years. What was said at half time?
Oh, he just gave us a bit of a serving, and you know, senior players like Cooper, JT, and Smitty spoke, and Gal in the middle. You know, our forwards are just getting dominated, and you know, that's what you get from a young, enthusiastic side. And you know, for the team that we got, you know, we knew we had to turn them back around.
Well done tonight, Greg.
Thank you.
Over to you, Lockie.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It was Sean Johnson. Didn't get the win, but you must be happy with the boys' effort.
Yeah, I guess happy. You know, we showed up with the right attitude to start with. You know, we didn't listen about too much that was going on the outside, so we didn't win, and that's why we're disappointed.
Yeah, I guess what was said all through the week from the media, how did you guys handle that internally?
Yeah, look, we sort of didn't, you know, take it on board too much. We, you know, we had a lot of belief in ourselves, and we knew that each player that gets to represent the Kiwis is always going to step up and, you know, give everything they got. So that was no different tonight. We just fell short.
Oh, well, great effort. I know you didn't get the win, but great effort. Thanks for that. Over to you, Joey.
Yeah, Jonathan Thurston, down 18-12. Is there ever any panic at all?
Oh, no, not really. We knew that
we got our fair share of possession with the ball, and also, you know, we gave them a couple of piggybacks there and an error, which, you know, when they got down to our end, they scored off all those. So there was no panic. We knew that we had to come out that second half and do a job, and that's what we did.
Now, your last 5 Test matches, you've had 4 men of the matches. You were aware of that? I think you might have another one tonight too.
No, I don't know about that, but yeah, look, it's just an honour to be part of such a great side. You know, on the back of the World Cup win, to come back into camp on a short preparation, seeing the boys, it's like a big reunion. So full credit to our boys. Like you said, you know, 18-12 down at half time, we didn't panic, and we're good enough to get the win in the end.
Good luck with the man of the match.
Thanks, mate.
Back to you, Rabs.
Okay, Andrew, thank you for that. Stay with us, won't you? It's an Australian victory here, defeating New Zealand by 30-12. Don't go away, because right after the break, the official presentation, the man of the match, by the way, judged by the Australian selectors, the VB hard-earned man of the match. A night of celebration, though, as the champions of the Australian side, hailed as only the second outfit in Test history to win 16 straight. That's coming up next, the man of the match ceremony on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Coverage brought to you by Betdaq, the sports betting exchange. Betdaq, value you can bet on.
Jamal Idris, what a fine young man he is. A superstar of the game at Canterbury. Absolutely killed it when he was at the Bulldogs. Signed a 5-year deal to go to the Gold Coast Titans. 2 years into that, he leaves. He decides to get out of his contract and go from the Gold Coast to Penrith. Hello? What was he thinking? Well, there's some very good reasons for that, and Yvonne Sampson sat down with Jamal for a heart-to-heart.
Your decision to leave the Titans appeared to have come very suddenly. What was the process for you? Was there a lot more going on that we didn't know?
For me, it was just that I was up there by myself. It's hard being anywhere by yourself, and I grew up with a strong sense of family. My mother was everything to me, and my father was too, and my brother as well. So at the end of the day, I just snapped. For me, I had to get back down to Sydney and be around family.
How do you respond when they call you disloyal?
At the end of the day, they got to think about their family. Who are they more loyal to, their job or their family? That's an easy decision for me every day.
Jamal was desperate to be back with his family, and all it took was one simple text message from his mother, Alana, for him to realise that he had to come home.
What was that text message that brought Jamal home?
She sent me a message, one going, I'm sitting here thinking of you, and you just reminded me of Delta Dawn. I used to sit there and I used to sing to her in the car. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say he was meeting you here today to take you to his mansion in the sky? And then Mum's part was always, she's 41 and her daddy still calls her baby.
That's what I said to you. I said, yeah, I said, you'll be 41 and I'll be still calling you baby.
And this is smile. And why did that affect you so deeply?
Back then everything was so easy, you know, Mum was right there, and we grew up, it was always me and her doing everything together. It wasn't as if like she's my mother, I'm her child. It was more as if we're best friends, we did everything together. So it was a little hard knowing that you just can't see her when you want. And I don't know, it just sort of got me flustered for a bit, and yeah.
He gets it back to Idris, he scores on debut. Big Jamal, the biggest human in the world.
Jamal quickly became a cult figure in the game. His talent on the field was only matched by his infectious personality off it, becoming one of our most loved players. Panthers coach Ivan Cleary says Jamal is exactly what Penrith needs, and Jamal's confident he can deliver.
That felt good. That felt good. That felt real good. So that's how I did it. Like, I got here and I was just like...
Your form, do you think you can get back better than ever?
Definitely, but that's just me, you know. Every game I go out to play, I go out there to play my best. You know, always, I don't know if you can say it seems arrogant or not, but I'll run out in the field and I say to myself, I'm the best centre on this field, no matter what, every single time. I look at my other centre, I smile because I sit there and I go, oh, you know, I'm going to run straight at you the first touch I get.
If you think Jamal's tough, he had to be from an early age. Growing up in and around an Aboriginal mission in Foster, his childhood quickly became about survival. His family were pushed to the brink of poverty, at times leaving them with nothing.
When I was younger, I was at a stage in my life where, you know, I'd just be sleeping at a beach because I had nowhere to sleep. You know, I had nothing. You know, nothing was handed to me, but yet I'd go up to the mission and every door on the mission was open. You're hungry, you could walk into your mum's cousin's house and she would cook you something to eat, you know. They'll just give me everything, you know, when it was like the world was just taking everything, you know, so, yeah.
Is there a point in your adolescence where, given different choices, you could have been on a very different path by now?
There was a lot of crime with us, you know, children growing up. You know, we would have JJ classes, like juvenile justice classes, we'd go to and everything. And, you know, I sort of got to a point where one of my teachers said to me, you know, get out of Foster the first opportunity you can, because there's nothing here for you. The way things are going, you're either going to be in jail or it's going to end even worse for you.
Could you have ended up in jail?
100%. To be honest with you, that's where I thought I was going. That's just the normal. That's our mentality at the time when we were about 13, 14, 15 was, yeah, we're going to be locked up soon enough, so whatever.
Did you ever worry about Jamal growing up? Was there ever a point where you thought, I might lose him here?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Sort of, it got to a point where, you know, there was a few deaths happening, you know, at one stage, and it was all like around the mission and stuff. And then, you know, one of my cousins got murdered as well by my other cousin. And then things just started taking off from there, and it just started escalating and getting worse and worse. I guess that's when Mum started worrying a fair bit.
Homeless and living out of a car, Jamal would spend nights walking the streets drinking alcohol, until at the age of 12, St Vinny's stepped in and gave he and his mum a home for 6 months, changing their lives forever. What changed for you at that time?
For me, what actually changed, I guess, was the fact that I wasn't in school. I was drinking a lot, you know, for a child. But that's all you could really do to keep your mind off things. But that gave me a bit of stability. You know, roof over my head means you can, you got that stability to go back to school. You got that stability to get back into sport, you know what I mean? Because you know when you finish training, you got somewhere to go.
Did that force you to grow up pretty quickly?
I think, well, not having a house, not having a place, that forced me to grow up, yeah, definitely. There are certain stages in your life that you will go through where there's no one there that can help you. You're there because of your own choices, so you just got to choose wisely.
Do you find that those experiences have made you the man you are now?
100% they made me tougher. They've turned me into everything I am.
And it brought you together as a family,
exactly,
closer?
You know, we didn't have much, but we had love.
Well, we've always been close from point blank, but it has, yeah.
Mum used to say, you know, it's us against the world.
That's it.
Sports saved Jamal's life. At 16, his mum packed up Jamal and his younger brother. A move to Sydney brought him back to reconnect with one of the most important men in his life, his dad, Jerry. It was there on a scruffy athletics track that this father and son bond became unbreakable. Jerry and Jamal also became coach and athlete.
The ground behind you has such significance. What's it like being back here together?
Brings back a lot of memory, some very, very good memories.
Jerry became a rock in Jamal's life, not just through sport but also spiritually, exposing Jamal to values outside of his Indigenous heritage.
Growing up in Australia, another thing is my dad's Muslim, you know, and that's all I knew growing up. He said to me one day, we were sitting in the car, and he goes to me, he goes, I'll never force you to be a Muslim. And he goes, I'm Muslim because it makes me a better person. And he goes, you know, that's the only reason I am. He goes, you're in Australia, you grew up differently, it's up to you. If someone was to come up to me and say, what are you? I'd say, oh, I don't have religion. But if they were to say, well, you got to pick one, I'm Muslim. I was born a Muslim, and at the end of the day, I guess when I die, I'm still going to be a Muslim.
Born to an African father and an Aboriginal mother, Jamal's identity is unique, but being different also made the family a target.
It is hard being an African in rugby league because at the time that we came here, when I go around the field, I was the first African you see around with my kid playing rugby league. All the African friends were playing soccer. Some people even look at you, what are you doing there? This is not your game, this is our game.
What sort of things did you hear?
In the semi-finals for SG Ball, even I was playing against Roosters.
Roosters, yeah.
And there was this kid on the other side, and it was maybe about 5 minutes from the end of the game, and he started saying, "Go back to Africa, you black F and C."
That was it.
Yeah, you're a dirty African, you this, that, and the rest. People are behind the fence, fans are behind the fence, and they think that they can say it because they're on the other side of the fence. They wouldn't say it to me on the street. So what makes them think they can say it because they're on the other side of the fence?
Don't get me wrong. It's not calling him the African that is not a problem. It's a problem. Of course he is, but it's what they said before and after it. It's really hard, but in the end, I had to do it for him, so I kept him in there. So for better or for worse, I'm glad the way he turned out these days, you know. So in the end, he have the last laugh.
Jerry, you must be very proud.
Proud is not the word. I think I'm blessed.
Idris is there! Idris snaps it up out of midair, puts the ball down, Jamal. That is a great try.
Yours is one of the most recognisable faces in the game. Why is that? Why are we so attracted to Jamal Idris?
Because I'm good looking. I don't know. I think what people want to see, I'm more like people outside of football. You know, I'm not the typical football player. You know, I'm just like that normal guy down at the pub. You know, and I look like a pub bloke. You know, he just came out of the pub to play footy. So I think I can relate to a lot of people.
You're a big kid, and you've always been a big kid. The weight? Do you ever think about it? Do you think, oh, okay, Jamal, the pants are getting you a bit tight?
There's a lot of larger kids who get teased in the playground, you know. But at the end of the day, I used to get teased when I was a kid. You know, short and rounded. I used to get teased as well, braces and pigeon-toed. But look, at the end of the day, I'm playing at the top level NRL. I'm doing it. That just goes to show every other kid getting teased on the playground because they're large. They can do it as well.
Jamal's at home at the Panthers. He's happy and content. Outside of footy, he's continuing his community work and helping other young boys who struggle to fit in.
Okay, my favourite car would probably have to be a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Do you see a little bit of yourself when you go and talk to these boys?
Yeah, I do. You know, their eyes are just open. They're all energetic and they just want to play. They just want to be happy. Nothing in life matters except being happy.
And having fast cars.
And having fast cars, yeah, having fast cars.
Mark, what do you want to do next?
Footy, please.
We could go out and kick a ball around if he's wanted.
How has NRL changed your life?
Well, it's as simple as, yeah, you know, my mother never goes hungry, my father never goes hungry. You know, my whole family's always looked after me, no matter what it is. At the moment, I'm living a good life. I never thought I'd live ever. You know, like I said before, you know, the fact that, you know, I always thought I was just going to be in jail. It's as simple as that. You know, it's a big turnaround.
Jamal will always remember the generous act that had such a profound impact in his life. Out of his own pocket, Jamal donates through St Vinny's to families in need because he says all you have to do is change one child's life.
Yes. Yes. I guess, you know, like everyone knows how I feel about, you know, the children. They're our future. It's as simple as that. You know, and you know, you help the parents out, that helps the children out. So anything I can do to help someone's life, you know, that's what you play NRL for, to change people's lives.
Gillett to acting half. Oh, geez, he's going to come back with a blind. They weren't ready. They've got numbers. The ball out through the dummy. I fell for it. He scores a try. Comes to Pearce. Delays the ball. They've got an overlap. Maloney. Jennings will go straight through it. quickly. Little kick into the end goal. They'll get a repeat set. Minichov wants to pick up try Thaiday. Thaiday scores.
Next stop for the Sprint Cup Series is one of NASCAR's most iconic tracks, Talladega Superspeedway.
Everybody elbowing for real estate off Turn 2. Close quarters racing in Talladega.
Live NASCAR tonight. See every race of the Sprint Cup on Premier Sports.
Time? We have no time for. Hours and minutes don't matter when you live every second. Here's to here and now. San Miguel Fresca. Mañana can wait.
Sometimes you need to dig deep.
Come on, everybody!
During hard exercise, breakdown happens deep inside your muscle fibers. Maxi Nutrition helps provide your muscles with the proteins they need to recover, helping make you stronger and perform better. Maxi Nutrition, you stronger.
4020 magazine is your next generation rugby league monthly, packed with high quality articles by the best known names in the game. Taking rugby league seriously, but not too seriously, 4020 magazine aims high and doesn't miss, and is in stores on the 13th day of every month. You can subscribe by either calling this number or visiting scratchingshedpublishing.com. 4020, the alternative voice of rugby league. iPhone and iPad edition also available.
How do they make Starburst taste so juicy? Well, I hear there's the Secret Orchard, where Michael Bolton serenades the trees. His voice is so smooth, it creates the juiciest flavors in the world. And then they give it all to Starburst. Okay.
Starburst, unexplainably juicy.
Wait!
Kick back and enjoy the rugby match with an ice-cold taste of pure refreshment. Kingston Press, official title sponsor of the championships and partner of the England Rugby League team. Available in apple, pear and wild berry. Try Kingston Press cider for real cider lovers.
Your end down a bit. To me.
Hey, Carlo! You can't make it to dinner. Dinner makes it to you. Dolmio Bolognese. When's your Dolmio day?
I used to battle frizz after every wash. Then my stylist told me about a Salon Smooth that lasts even through washes.
New Tresemme Keratin Smooth 7-day heat-activated treatment. Activate with heat and you'll enjoy frizz resistance for as many as 7 days. Tresemme, professional, affordable.
Try Tag Rugby, a fun and social seven-a-side non-contact version of rugby. Play in weeknight leagues all across London and Reading. Suitable for all levels with men's, ladies and mixed leagues. And regular parties, tours, festivals and social events. Visit trytagrugby.com and get tagging.
The perfect sandwich. White bread. Brown. White. Brown.
Bagel.
Bap.
A bap with bacon.
Salami.
Salami. Thinly cut. Thickly. Thinly. Thickly.
Not cherry tomato.
Plum.
Plum? Man alive! What's wrong with big tomato?
And to top it off.
Hellman's.
Hellman's.
Hellman.
You create the sandwich. Hellman's makes it.
tonight. Penrith is part of the Pacific, from Apia to Suva, wherever you're watching around the world. Welcome to the 2014 Pacific Test. Fiji against Samoa. The flags are flying high. It's a party atmosphere at Sportingbet Stadium. The Panthers' traditional home ground tonight, full of Fijians, Samoans, fans of Pacific Rugby League. Matt Russell and Greg Alexander with you in the box. Mark Gasnier and Andy Raymond on the sideline. Brandy, we know we're going to get plenty of physicality in this game and some good skill as well.
Absolutely. It will be a feast when these teams have the football. Fiji, Korobiti, Radradra, Takiri, Nabuli, Nagama at the back. There is plenty of attack for both sides. The NRL experience does favour the Samoans, but the inclusion of Petro Civoniceva could be an enormous boost for this Fijian side.
There he is in jumper 18, an inclusion that was kept under wraps when they had their final training session yesterday. Let's take you through it. Nagama at the back, Korobeti and Nabuli the wingers, Radradra and Takiri the centres. Aaron Groom, the halfback, alongside Alapate Tani. And in the pack, Ashton Sims, the captain, Stora Evans, Rangitha Batiki and Sims, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Sandrau, Taronga Review and Petro Civoniceva rounding out the 17, the coach Rick Stone. Fiji Bati against Tor Samoa, who look this way. Peter Matatia, the fullback, Daniel Vito and young Tonamapea, the wingers. Ricky Latelli, Krishnan Inu in the centres, Reni Matua alongside Panani Manu Malili at the scrum base.
keeps everything true to tradition.
What is it that makes you guys so special, that makes this an authentic taste of Honolulu and Hawaii?
It's just the old family style and the aloha spirit. There's nothing written down. It's all by how my grandma taught me how to taste the food.
I'm ready to taste the best of what Helena's has to offer. So Craig makes me a plate of their famous Pipi Kaula short ribs.
Now talk to me about what you're doing, because when I see a bunch of like dripping meat.
Pipi Kaula is the Hawaiian way of drying their meat. Pipi means beef, cow.
Okay.
The Pipi Kaula is the dried beef. That's our trademark item.
Pipi Kaula short ribs are soaked in a shoyu soy sauce and then hung for 5 hours. While they dry out, the natural flavors intensify and darken the meat, and then it's ready for frying.
When you taste this, it's unlike any other meat you've had.
It has a real depth of flavor to it. There's like a crunch. There's like that succulent kind of burst of juice and oil. This is the real deal. And the real deal is freaking delicious.
Craig plates more than 150 pounds of Pipi Kaula daily. But there's one more dish that makes Helena's the top spot for Hawaiian classics. Lau Lau, a meat dish wrapped in 2 different native leaves.
You look kind of hot.
Craig uses tea leaves to make an outer shell with bundled luau leaves containing the meaty middle. He takes 2 cuts of pig from the shoulder and the belly.
Pork bellies, Hawaiians like fat, so I always like to throw a little piece of fat in it.
Then a piece of black cod, locally referred to as butterfish, is placed in the middle.
It's got a buttery flavor.
Oh, this fish is like butter. It's the butterfish.
After a sprinkling of coarse-grained Hawaiian sea salt, Craig wraps together both luau and tea leaves to enclose it.
I love that you split it with your teeth and you tied it with one hand. You kind of like wrapped it like a present.
You can give presents or leis. It's a container. They used to wrap their poi in it. It was what they had in ancient Hawaiian days.
It looks almost like a little hobo pack. I'm leaving. I'm taking my pork and my butterfish with me.
Finally, Craig steams the Lau Lau bundles for over 3 hours, leaving incredibly juicy, tender meat.
That is incredible. The leaves take on the consistency of sauteed spinach. The fat from that pork belly kind of cooks around that fish. The butterfish flakes away. I mean, it's just amazing.
This is deep Hawaiian.
That's deep Hawaiian, brah. These recipes are of this place, from this place, and cooked by people that live here. That's amazing.
These are genuine island eats, but to see the full luau spread, I've got to taste its big kahuna, Kalua pig.
Kalua pig, or let me see if I remember this, Pua'a Kalua?
The pua is the pig.
I can't believe I remembered that. I went to the Polynesian Cultural Center 10 years ago, and I still remember Pua'a Kalua.
Helena serves up 150 pounds of mouth-watering Kalua pork every week. And it's all cooked true to tradition using an off-site in-ground oven pit called an imu.
The imu is the traditional Hawaiian oven.
Okay.
And they dug a hole in the ground and they heated up lava rocks with a big fire. And then they wrapped the whole pig in tea leaf and banana leaf.
A traditional earthen oven is making Kalua pork the way it's been made here since time immemorial.
To have my taste of authentic hog from the ground, I'm gonna eat with another descendant of the restaurant's namesake, Helena's daughter, Elaine Katsuyoshi.
How are you? I'm excellent. This is the real deal. Such a clean pork flavor. It's smoky. But also the leaves that it's wrapped in kind of also give it a little bit deeper flavor.
That's why we have home-cooked, authentic home-cooked Hawaiian food. And our customers love it because it's their comfort food.
I'm telling you, they're gonna make a Hawaiian out of me yet.
Coming up, things get a little hotter.
You going for the spicy?
Oh, yeah.
Deep in the heart of Texas sits an edible inferno. And this spiciest of burgers only entices the bravest of carnivores. I'm here on historic Route 66 in Amarillo, Texas, the meat capital of the world. And you can better believe